Coming up next on Access Framingham TV is Framingham Fan to Fan, where we discuss all things sports in Framingham. Today we're talking about girls youth hockey with guests from the Lady Flyers division of the Framingham Youth Hockey League. Stay tuned. It's going to be fun, fast-paced, and get your sticks up or you might get slapped in the face. This is Framingham Fan to Fan on Access Framingham TV. Hi, I'm Dave Hornfischer, a Framingham sports fan, and I'm pleased to host this interview show whose purpose is to highlight those who are involved in Framingham sports at all levels. We hope through this show to increase awareness, fan support, and participation in these fun sporting events, and also to help use sports to achieve our station's goal of building community. Today I'm pleased to welcome coaches, directors, players from the Lady Flyers division of the Framingham Youth Hockey League. Welcome. I have to my left coaches and board members Kevin Holker and Jeff Quinn, and their daughters and players Heidi Holker and Katie Quinn. So it's great to have you all here. I was down to watch you practice the other night, and I can't just say how totally impressed I was by the energy and the quality of play that was happening out there. It made me wish I was a 14, 12-year-old girl again myself.
Thank you.
But y'all are just so, you two young women are just so lucky to have a chance to be able to do this. That wasn't the way when I was your age, and maybe when you guys were either. So why don't, Kevin, why don't you start by just talking a little bit about the Framingham program and the.
So I got involved about 5 years ago, and we won what was called the Cheever Grant for girls hockey. And so the Framingham program invited other girls from other towns to join us. And
so this was an all-boys program.
It's
from its founding in the 1960s?
It was in the 1963, I think it was.
Yeah, and it was all boys.
And it was co-ed, but
mostly
boys.
Yeah.
And so we've been really working, Jeff and I, and a lot of our other coaches, to promote the girls program. And for me, it started with the Cheever Grant. We had a girls team, I think, the year before it started, and then we invited everybody in, and that's really where I got involved.
How about you, Jeff?
So I started, well, I originally played Framingham youth hockey growing up. Grew up in Framingham, and I had moved out of town for a number of years and then moved back, and so wanted to get back involved. And Katie started when she was 4 years old, and I started coaching at that time. And then a few years had gone by, she was still in the beginners program, and that's when the Cheever Grant Award happened. And that was really when the girls program was being rebuilt. There had been a girls team a number of years ago, but those girls had aged out, and it was just co-ed teams at that time. And in the 2014-2015 hockey season, they had a pilot program with one team, played a few exhibition games, but all the girls on that team were playing co-ed in addition to playing that first year of girls hockey. That next year was the Cheever Grant, and that's when it really started building up. So we've built up from about 50 players playing Just Learn to Play and co-ed to this season having 4 all-girls teams, a Lady Flyers development program with 20 players, and then we have co-ed players and girls in our Learn to Play hockey program. So we've built up from approximately 50 players to over 100 girls players over the last 5 years.
This is amazing. I had Paul Spears, the high school athletic director, on. He was talking about what your program has meant, and they have a very energetic high school program already. So, Heidi, why are you doing this? Because your dad wanted you to?
No.
No? Good for you.
Since I was like really little, like 4 or 3, I used to skate in our back pond with like a chair, and that's where I learned to skate. And then I just wanted to play hockey, so then I joined beginners, and then I started playing in that girls team.
And so you're about 12, so when this league started 5 years ago, you'd have been about 7, right? So she was probably part of the early bunch then that was...
She was in the beginners program.
Yeah, when this really got started. Yeah, and Katie, how about you?
I started in the beginners program, and I stayed there for quite a while. And then when I was in 4th grade, I first joined a girls' team, and this was a team with girls that were pretty much all older than me. They were all in the Pee Wee level, which is U12. I was a U10. So and I'd been only doing beginners up until then, so it was probably difficult for me to kind of get used to it.
I bet. Yeah, well, good for you.
But then the next year, I was used to it, and at that point, I was playing on a regular Pee Wee team and the girls team. And then last year, I played on the girls team again, and it was getting bigger and stronger. And now this year, where we have so many people that, like, it's crazy.
You're going to have a couple teams, right? And you told me before the show that some idiot had the nerve to tell you that girls couldn't play hockey.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, when I was in beginners, it was house league, and this was the last year I was doing beginners. And my brother came up to me one time before we were leaving to go and said that the last time we had been skating, someone came up to him and said, like, "Is that your sister?" And he was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Well, girls can't play hockey, so tell her to quit." And so I ran out to my room crying because why wouldn't I?
Sure.
So then I went to hockey and, you know, kind of proved him wrong.
Well, good for you. That's the kind of stuff that I think is one of the real blessings of what you guys are doing here, and has to make you feel so good. Because, I mean, women's hockey these days with the Olympic team, which is the best in the world, and Boston University and BC have teams that are in the national championship every year. So is this something that you guys would aspire to do someday when you're in high school? Would you want to play when you get to high school?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And after that, who knows what might happen? You know, you might go to college and play hockey, or you might not. But you have the opportunity. That's the important thing, and that's so terrific. So let's talk a little bit about how the program's organized. You touched on that just briefly, guys. About you've got ages 4 through 7, which is a kind of a different kind of a starting point with the chairs and learning to skate. And
yeah, so we have our Learn to Play Hockey program, which is for beginner skaters, and they don't have to have any experience. Like you said, they can use chairs when they first start, but very quickly, within 2-3 sessions, usually, we put the chairs to the side and kids are skating and getting to understand how the edges of the skates work. And so usually kids spend a couple of years doing that, and then move up to the U8, U10, U12. It's 2-year bands for all the teams, and we have travel teams for U8, U10, U12, U14, and then even U16 on the boys' side of things. And that's what we're aspiring to with the girls' program, is to be able to offer from learn to play hockey all the way up to a preseason for high school age players.
Yeah, so it's early November when we're taping this, and you can see I still got my hat that's been stuck to my head since the end of October, and I can't quite get it off yet, but I haven't quite had room to get a hockey helmet on to do this show, which I should have done. But it's not too late for, even if this show's not on the air until sometime in December, will you be taking registrations throughout the year, or how does that work?
Well, we're still growing our the Ladies Flyer development program that we just came out with this year. And basically we offered up 10 sessions to see what kind of interest there was out there, and we got an incredible amount of girls signed up. We had 20 people signed up that we have now. And we're thinking that most of those girls are going to phase out into the JV program at the high school. So we're going to have some openings coming up.
These are older girls. Yeah.
There's a whole mix of girls.
Okay.
It's from 8 years old to 14 years old. And we just somehow captured that audience of the younger JV freshmen. And so I think we'll have some more openings up in January. We don't really want to turn anybody away. We want all the girls in Framingham to be playing hockey with us. So if there's a way to make it work, we absolutely will. So we're not turning anybody
And you have a
away.
lot of ice time at Loring?
It gets less and less with the colleges and the high school when they have their season, because our season starts in September and we go all the way to the end of March. So we're out there a lot. So we have more ice in the fall, more ice in the spring, a little bit less in the winter time, but we're compensating for that with some dry land sessions, and we're usually on the ice at least 2 times a week with a game.
So so are you at the point of creating travel teams with the older kids, ages what, 8 through 14? Or?
Yeah, we have travel teams for all ages.
And
So
where do you? Oh, go ahead.
The travel season kicks off with registration in the late spring, and we have evaluations. We do our team placements for the following season, and then there's always opportunities with the Learn to Play program, and now with the Lady Flyers development program for girls of all ages who aren't ready to play on a travel team, or if they sign up late, they can get on the ice and we can evaluate them and work on their skills and get them coached up to where they can eventually play travel hockey.
So if this show ends up being on the air in February or March, then you're going to be looking for getting players for next year already?
Yeah, registration will start in probably late January for the 2019-2020 season.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's no qualification for signing up. You get kind of assigned based on your skill level, right? After a few tryouts.
We do evaluations, yeah.
And so, yeah, so it's great. You gets to start right from the beginning. And the sooner you learn to skate in life, the easier it is. Believe it from somebody who tried and failed at age 30 and almost killed himself. But, we won't talk about that. So we talked about, so what is it that you guys like about this, if I haven't asked you that already? But I mean, is it the competition? Is it the chance to just the excitement of skating? Or?
It's mainly just the excitement of skating. Like,
Do you see yourself as skaters or hockey players?
hockey players?
There's a difference between a skater and a hockey player and a figure skater, right?
Yeah.
And a major difference. Tell me about that a little bit.
Well, one of my friends is a figure skater, or at least she used to do figure skating, and one time I asked her if she would be interested in playing hockey for the girls, and she's like, maybe, like I know how to skate, and she almost came to she had a practice, like figure skating practice, right before one of my hockey practices, and so she stayed to watch a little bit of it, and afterwards she's like, it seems a little too aggressive.
And what position do both of you play?
Defense.
Okay, so talk about aggressive. You have to be aggressive to be a defense person, right?
Yeah, because you're the only one that gets back if like the offense gets caught up, like defending, not really defending, but like trying to like keep the puck back. But if they can't get back in time, that's what defense is for. Like we're the ones who actually, like not actually, but like we're the ones who have to.
You are the friend of the goalie.
Yeah.
And we have to, like, in the offensive zone, we have to really keep the puck in and make sure there's no one behind us so that they can't get a breakaway. And we have to be good at skating backwards.
Have you worked on a slap shot?
A little bit.
A little bit. That comes with a little more size, maybe, to be able to
Yeah.
really. So are you sort of one-timer shooters, or is that what do you call your shot?
Just shoot.
Shoot. Okay.
I just shoot at the net.
Okay,
Yeah.
we have a couple of little videos came up that I went down to watch one of your practices and took a few little videos here. We've got one, I think, of just kind of the warm-up skate as everybody's coming on the ice. And, well, why don't you talk about this as to what's going on here? Why don't we start with you guys, and then we'll let the players talk theirs.
So that's Heidi right there.
That's Heidi, okay.
And that was
Which-
Jeff that was leading the practice.
Okay.
So,
And so
we
this-
typically start off with everybody's on the goal line. We get warmed up by doing several full ice skates backwards, as you can see in the video here. And then we switch to
Let's
state.
run that one again, Shavars, from the beginning if you can. No, yeah, this
And
one.
there's
Yeah.
Jeff.
Okay.
And we switch to station-based practice. So we follow the ADM model.
I mean, these girls are flying.
Yeah, our practices are based on the USA Hockey American Development Model. So in this case, we did it, you know, as Kevin was saying, a warm-up. And then after we're done with the warm-up, where we focus on skating, we'll go into small area groups, and the groups will be separated by age and skill level.
Yeah, we have some of that coming up later. But
there was good competition.
There was one girl at the end there who was struggling. She looked like she was probably fairly new in the program, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's got to be something where you get a sense of kind of encouraging other people. And you all remember when you were at that level, probably. And, now we've got another little video coming up here, I think, of goalie instruction, and we have a little story behind this.
And that's Kate.
And that's, okay, that's Kate
Katie.
right there.
Katie,
and so the emphasis there is to skate backwards and flop and what? What is that? What was you trying to do?
We were trying to do butterfly, so that's basically one of.
Oh, and Natalie. That's my younger daughter.
Okay.
She's a U8. So the U8, they don't have a full-time goalie. They rotate who gets to play goalie each week. On the older teams,
and let's run that one more time too, so we get it.
On the older teams, we do have dedicated goalies, but unfortunately, our white team goalie suffered an injury at school in recess, and so she's been out for a couple weeks. And so Katie got the opportunity to fill in as goalie, even though that's not what she normally does, but she stepped up so that we at least had a goalie for our game last week.
What was that experience like, Katie?
It was actually really good because I kind of got to see the whole thing and like what a goalie really does on like a regular basis, and kind of get an idea on like what the defense could do better, what the offense could do better, and just overall like what the whole team could really do to like step up the game. And it was a really good experience.
I had soccer players on, and the soccer goalie said, you know, the coach had to tell me that, or the coach said, I tell him, when somebody gets a ball by you, or a puck by you in your case here, and this is a puck, and this is what it sounds like, it's the whole team's failure. It's not just the, you know, it's the poor goalie that gets blamed, but it's really everybody else. And speaking of that, we've got another little video coming up here, I think, of a shooting drill that you were doing in one corner of the rink here. I don't know if you're the goalie on this one or not, Katie.
Yep.
Is this you? That's you. Yep. And coaches, what are they trying to do here?
So basically, in this drill, there's 3 lines. They go out around the tires at the same time and take shots. So I've got the tires on an angle, so it's really a fast-paced.
You're pretty good at this.
And she did excellent in the game.
Yeah. Oh, you had a game after this.
Oh,
Yeah.
This was her first game this year, just filling in, so she did really well.
That's because you had her defending and doing her job in front of you, right? Maybe we can show that one more time there. It looked like this. The skating, I was impressed with the way they managed to control their bodies when they, on the shooting. And
Yeah, the concept of this station-based practice is we divide the ice into, you know, in this case, I think we had 5 stations. So the kids aren't standing around waiting. Like when Kevin and I were growing up, you'd have 1 or 2 people involved in a drill, and you know, 14 people are standing on the wall waiting for their turn. So the idea here, when you break the ice into these different stations, is that the kids are getting more out of the ice time. They're more active, moving a higher percentage of the time, and their skills are going to improve because they're getting, you know, more training in each practice.
I think I had a still picture. I'm not sure whether we've got it on the system of some big rubber blockers that you had, and the kids were kind of skating around those,
Yeah.
and that looked like a pretty interesting kind of a drill. And oh
yeah, we use
there it is.
we
right
use the
there.
bumpers in a variety of different ways during our drills. There's a lot of different things you can do with the bumpers. In this case, they're playing tag. So when you play a game like tag, you're not thinking about your skating. You're thinking about tagging the other person. And what happens is when you're focused on your feet and you're thinking about your feet, you might develop bad habits. But if you're thinking about, I just need to tag this person, you're motivated and you're moving, and it's more natural, and you develop a more natural skating stride.
It sounds like you do a lot of things that make the practices fun. I mean, that's being a perfect
Absolutely,
example as
yeah.
contrasted with just shut up and skate and jump and go backwards and do that for 4 hours or an hour and be exhausted and say, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, for sure. The point of youth sports is to have fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Just look exhausted, but definitely not just stand up, skate, skate back and forth 4,000 times.
Yeah.
There's a good feeling of playing when you're tired and learning how to do that too, right? I mean, somebody on one of the shows I did, one of the athletes said that the coach's message was to embrace being tired, because that means you're giving it your all if you're tired. If you're not tired, it means you're not committing. That was sort of the message. You guys have some inspirational messages that you try and give to the teams, especially as you get into the the travel teams, the Lady Flyers. I see you're the Lady Junior Flyers, right? That's
Yeah.
So we like to keep things positive, and one of the things we talk about is what can we do better, so that it's a continuous improvement, because we're not going to win every game, but if you lose a game, you should be able to learn something from that experience too. Winning a game 10-0, you might not learn anything from that. But if you lose a game 1-0, there's got to be some lessons there that.
or if you win
take
one,
away
1-0.
or if you win 1-0, yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about, I'm sorry, were you going to add to that?
I was just going to mention that we're also building a bridge to the high school girls program, and we've had Casey, who's the high school girls coach, out on ice with us, and several of her captains helping with the practices. So
That's terrific.
we're really trying to promote Framingham girls hockey, and by having the high school girls help out, these guys look up to them, and even the little U8s are looking up to the 14-year-olds,
Sure.
and it's really it's a great group of kids in the locker room. It's amazing the atmosphere that you hear the girls goofing around.
Yeah, Paul Spear was on my show a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about the strength of this program, the way it's really just growing so fast. And I think he said he had 60 girls at the high school want to sign up and want to play. So you're going to have to really be good by the time you get to high school. So let's just talk a little bit about some of the fun moments and exciting moments that you've had, and the stories that you're going to tell your grandchildren someday or whatever about when I played youth hockey. This is what I remember. You want to, let me see, why don't we start over here with Katie on this one first? I've been making Heidi go first all the time.
Okay, so there was one time in one of my Pee Wee games that I was playing defense. It was a play-down game, and we were losing 1-0 the whole game, basically. The other team scored in the first period, and it stayed that way until the third period. And about halfway through, I was on the ice. I was playing D, so I was at the blue line, and obviously the net was a whiles away, and the puck came up to me, so I decided I'm going to shoot it. So I shot it, and miraculously it somehow got in the net.
That's a real slap shot.
Yeah.
Before you knew you had one.
So we ended up winning that game. It went to overtime, and one of my other teammates scored in overtime. And then we moved on to the next round, and that was like a really proud moment, because I had scored before, but never from that distance, and never through 4 players and a goalie.
And if you hadn't have made that goal, you wouldn't have won the game, because every goal you make wins the winner. How about you, Heidi?
It was actually the last game of last year. We were down 4-1, and I had scored the 1. And then I had gotten the puck, and then I shot it, and then the goalie had caught it. Well, it was on the ground, and she covered it. So then all the other players started going back because they thought it was over. The goalie caught it, and now we're just gonna start from another part. And then I started not hitting the goalie's pad, but trying to move it in. And then somehow the goalie lifted her hand up, and then it went in. So that was a proud moment for me, because because it just felt good.
And you didn't give up.
Yeah.
That's what and that's such a message too. Is in hockey, I think especially that's so true. I mean, it's such a fast-paced game. It would be so easy when someone skates by you to stop, or when you could really go after them, especially playing defense. But youth hockey in general, coaches, guys, is really just taken off in recent years. What do you attribute this to? Is there something going on? Is this just is this Me Too on the ice, if you will, and in some ways like that? And pardon?
It's us.
It's us. It's you. Yeah.
I mean, it's a great game. I mean, we grew up playing and still play. I play pickup. Kevin plays pickup hockey. So we love the game, and not just for our kids, but for all the other kids that we coach. If they leave Framingham Youth Hockey with a love for the game of hockey, then we did something right.
I have a picture here of the women's Olympic team after they won the gold medal, I think, a couple of years ago, coming up here. And that really was, I think, a real high point nationally for you. Yeah, there they go. That's again, just imagine the feeling that you got when you've just figured out you were the best in the world. I mean, the look on there, the energy in this picture is just so great. And I mean, it's just something that I'd want to be a part of. And I'm getting a sense that both of you do too, by the way you're just the way you responded to some of the questions today that we talked about. So do you have any partnerships with the? You mentioned before we came on the air of doing something at BU. You had a day there.
Well, we do. The girls also do outings. So we'll do. Last year we went to the USA Women's Hockey versus Canada exhibition game, and most of our team went to watch that, and it was a different result from the final game. But we try to get the girls together with tournaments and different things that we do to keep them together. We're having a pizza party Thursday night, and things like that.
And you do some fundraising. Does the league do fundraising? You've got a lot of local sponsors.
Yep.
Right
We
now
have a hat trick sponsorship where local businesses sponsor the program and get recognized by the program, so they get some good publicity out of it, and it helps us cover the ice cost. That's our biggest cost is practice ice. So.
This show's gone way too fast. I've got a couple of pictures of Loring Arena coming up, because I think that's got to be an exciting piece. The town put a lot of money into it. The town meeting approved this and renovation. It's just a beautiful facility. I mean, I was down there the other night, and I'm really eager to go see high school games. If I wanted to see you guys play, when will I see you?
So the girls, we're trying to get some games in December at Loring. We're working with the league we're in, the Middlesex Yankee Girls Hockey League, to get some home games for all three of our teams, our U10 and both our U14 teams at Loring. We had a scrimmage 2 Sundays ago against Natick at Loring.
Great.
So, yeah, you can always check the schedule on the website.
Yeah, tell me your website. We want to get that up here.
Yeah, FraminghamYouthHockey.org.
All one word, FraminghamYouthHockey.org.
Yep.
And you can find out schedules. You can find out how to register for the league and what's going on.
Registration, the master schedule.
There's some videos maybe there even.
Yeah, there's a lot of information on there.
Well, that'd be great. As I said before.
Buy some of this gear for the Lady Flyers.
Yeah, we got our store, and we have the calendar raffle that's going on for December, if this airs before then.
Right. Well, the 28 minutes just flew by way too fast. I thank you all for coming on. I thank you guys for doing the job that you're doing and promoting youth hockey. And I especially am proud of the both of you for the energy that you've got and the commitment that you've got to ice hockey. You're all just great representatives of a terrific youth program in Framingham. And to all you folks out there in Framingham TV and watching, get down and watch these guys play. If you've got a skater in your family, sign them up. If you want to coach, I bet they could find something to do, and they probably even have somebody who will help you ride the Zamboni. I've always wanted to do that. Anyway, or come back next week or some other time and watch Framingham Fan to Fan on Access TV. We're on 4 nights a week, Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 8:30. Oh, and then Saturday morning at 7:30 if you're up that early. Thanks for tuning in, and come back again.